A lot of gamers sort of forget this now, but in the late 90s and early 2000s, Square Enix was the king of the entire gaming industry. They were cranking out so many big games, weird experimental projects, pretty much every single game they came out with, from Brave Fencer Musashi to Parasite Eve to freaking Final Fantasy Tactics. It was just banger after banger after banger. Square Enix was so successful that wherever their games landed, those consoles would sell better. Like straight up, their exclusivity contracts with Nintendo and later on PlayStation helped launch generations of RPGs, which is why it's very baffling that right now they just reported that they are bleeding hundreds of millions of dollars. And I want to take a look at these financial reports because as an RPG fan and as one of the biggest simps in the universe for Final Fantasy, it's baffling how much they're completely blowing it. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. So what we had to look at is these are some translations over on Twitter of a bunch of the different data. They basically did a late night conference call yesterday discussing things with their investors as to why things have been on such a bad downturn. Now, what they've said is that net sales are down a solid 15%. God, that's so terrible. Digital entertainment sales are down 17.5%. HD games is down. Freaking Jesus. Yeah, mobile games are crashing. Publication net sales down. Now, here are the parts that are actually going up that are most interesting to me. Their MMO segment is, of course, way on the rise. Right now, Final Fantasy XIV is still completely funding all the failures of Square Enix. As much as I love Square Enix, as much as they are killing it in their own department, I do think that even their experimental stuff these days sometimes completely blows my mind. What's bizarre is that for all their failures, Final Fantasy XIV, even if you don't play this game, it has tens of millions of subscribers, each paying $15 a month. Like, the amount of billions of dollars that singular game is making is keeping the company afloat. But what they have said is they're managing to sell more merchandise, which is probably those like $1,000 Tifa twerking statues or whatever. You know, like their merchandise is managing to sell, and their amusement net sales, which I think are like the Square Enix cafes and stuff, those are up. But it's kind of weird how little money they're making. Now, I did find this interesting slide where they claimed these are their biggest main titles right now. We have Outriders World Slayer. That's the expansion that just came out. I've played a bit of this. Full disclosure, Square Enix did send me a copy of that. It's pretty dang great. World Slayer is basically a reinvention of Outriders with all the other tweaks and update patches. It's very, very good. If you're looking into a looter shooter, I thought it was pretty fantastic. Power Wash Simulator, which I also played quite a bit of on Game Pass. Live Alive, I bought that. I loved that. So these are the things that are currently out. These are the things that are about to come out, though. Live Alive, apparently, even though it was a remake, incredibly successful, especially here in the West. Now, Dragon Quest X, Valkyrie Elysium, Star Ocean, Dragon Quest Treasures, Crisis Core, and Forspoken. These are all big question marks right now. My big concern right now is with Star Ocean and Forspoken, because as much as I think these have been advertised a bit, gamers are aware they exist, we still haven't seen much raw gameplay just popping up. Like, they have done like a 15-minute gameplay segment for Forspoken. We still don't quite get the idea of how the magic system works, and Star Ocean, even as a fan of Star Ocean has taken a lot of fat L's over the course of the last couple of years. So is this collectively going to help them bounce back? Probably not. Like, it's weird to think that right now Final Fantasy is to a heavy degree helping them stay propped up. Like, not just 14, but a lot of these remakes, the fact that they keep porting old Final Fantasy games. There was a big leak that they're about to release a sort of remaster remake of things like Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions. There's a Tactics Ogre is coming back. So it makes me think right now Square Enix is grasping at straws. Now, real quickly, before I start to go into some of their absolutely insane statements, I do want to quickly say video game sales have been down this year. It's just that there hasn't been as many giant AAA releases. So, of course, in general, the market is on a downtrend. While there have been big games coming out, obviously I'm staying busy as a reviewer. you can tell that there just isn't as much big AAA stuff burning up the headlines, which does lead to lower net revenue. But even look at something like Bandai Namco. They did their conference call last night as well, and they've said that their sales are up, their profit is almost double, all their stuff is way up. Now, this is, of course, probably at least 80% of this money is because of Elden Ring, but it is showing you that even though some stuff is bad, nothing can quite reflect on how freaking low these numbers are. This is absolutely, this is scary. To the point at which it sounds like Square Enix is about to start asking for money. Now, they did two separate, very strange and, in my opinion, negative statements during this conference call. One of them is they said they're looking at selling stakes in their studios, so like independent investors that can help fund particular projects. Look at this. What we're trying to do is try and offset the rising cost of development. But here's the other thing, is that one of the things they said they're trying to do is that they're selling off their other studios to try and stop self-cannibalization. They actually said the words that they were concerned with the sales of games like Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, that it was going to take profit from themselves, where, I don't know, selling the Avengers game or Guardians of the Galaxy was somehow going to hurt Final Fantasy. This is an actual statement. I mean, this is just so baffling. How are these even related? But apparently their solution to this problem is to sort of just sell off particular stakes. So some sort of billionaire or mega millionaire could own 1/10 of something inside the company itself. You know, you can own part of Development Team 3 or something inside of Square Enix. This is just so strange, and I guess it's a strategy, but it's weird to think how far they've fallen considering their own brand. Like, if I could actually speculate here for a second, the biggest problem is that Square Enix, as good as their games are, they're incredibly spaced out. I think one of the biggest issues is that Square Enix talks about a game so much that by the time it comes out, there almost seems to be these mixed messages as to how we're supposed to interact with it. Like, just take for example something like Final Fantasy 16, which has had 4 separate trailers. They've discussed things like delays. They've talked about the development cycle in 7 different separate announcements. I mean, they've talked about Final Fantasy 16 so much, I just want to play it. I'm a dedicated gamer. I'm an excessive Final Fantasy person, and yet even I am just saying, give me the game. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired about teased release dates and stuff. Just give me the game. And Square Enix perpetually has this problem. Like, only recently did they finally confirm that the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be a trilogy. They just finally said that. How bonkers is it that we had to sit in the dark for years of scratching our head and saying, okay, is this going to be 5 games? Is this going to be 1 game? Is it just going to be 15 games? Like, we had no idea what that project even was, because Square Enix spaces out every one of their games so much that you're stuck sitting there and saying, okay, when is this done? Is it ever going to be done? Is there a point to being done? What really confuses me the most about this conference call was definitely just the idea that, well, to be quite frank, the fact that they're talking about, even now, making less games going forward to make it where they can focus the market on each particular project. And honestly, slowing down production, is that really the answer? I mean, I kind of like when Square Enix has a third-person shooter and then a big slasher game with swords and then a big Final Fantasy game. I feel like a diverse portfolio is the secret to success. I think, seriously, right now, Square Enix wants to be bought. I've said this in a previous video. I think more than anything in the world, they just want to find a way for Sony to scoop them up, or for Square Enix to scoop them up, or hopefully not Tencent, but it seems like the whole idea here is just somebody buy us, somebody direct us, somebody tell us what the heck to do, because at this point, we don't know what's going on. These have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts, though, as to what's going on in my head. What do you think about this entire mess? Give me your feelings in the comments down below, and please watch the other video I just uploaded. I just put up a video talking about Sony defending $70 games and maybe a $600 PS5. I guess we'll find out. I love you guys very much. Please enjoy your weekend. I actually have a lot of content coming up an Atlas review, which am I allowed? Yeah, Soul Hackers 2 review coming up. I'm playing Dragon Ball Z Breakers. It's a lot coming up on the channel. I love you very much, and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.